Oh shit! I didn't do the different background. Bollocks every time.
What happened? What's
The wrong
happened?
box.
Hi,
We gotta
everybody.
wait. We gotta wait. Don't say anything. Don't say anything fun until everyone's back from the advert.
That's such a. What do you mean? You just want to be silent for like 30 seconds, maybe even a minute?
Okay.
Oh, that's great. That's a great show. Hi, everyone. We're just going to assume that right now you're watching an ad, so we're not going to talk at all.
Advert is done. You're being ridiculous.
So just to be clear, on Twitch, the advert happens, I think at the beginning. I don't know if it happens in the middle, but whenever I watch some that I'm not subscribed to, I get another advertisement, but they might have them turned on. So we're kind of relying on you, oh beloved Twitch watchers, to tell us how your experience is. We can't help the one at the beginning. I don't think that's a ship that's sailed. We don't get to help that one.
So sometimes when you join a Twitch channel or like when it immediately goes live, it will shunt an advert. So even if you're in the chat, once the streamer presses the go live button, it then kicks an advert on. Sometimes.
I think Lloydie knows that and is saying like, what advert? Because on YouTube there are none.
Oh, well, either way, my explanation stands.
It's perfect.
Well done, Lloydie. Well done, Lloydie, for perfectly illustrating why YouTube is a valid option for everybody.
Yes, you can go over to YouTube and watch there, and we do get to see your comments over there. It's on the CinemaSins podcast channel, and you can go to the live tab and see all of the previous live shows as well. They don't exist for very long on Twitch, but they do exist forever.
In perpetuity.
In perpetuity. Did you just say perpetuity? Oh. I thought you were showing that to me. Like, I know I've seen it. Nope. Hi, David.
Nope. Hi, David.
I've got to fix my screen too, but it's on the back end. You guys would never know. You like the longer intro? Okay, well, maybe what we could do is we need to extend our music.
Oh, we could start everyone.
We need to extend our music for 5 minutes, a 5-minute start.
I really want to use that BTS one.
That's what you said last week.
We should do it.
YouTube is in a constant battle with ad blockers, though. That's a good point, Mark.
That's true.
Sarah, you agree with Sarah, Nick. What did Sarah say? As a Twitcher, I appreciate the longer intro. Yeah. And then Ian, is that a mug that warms itself?
Oh, that's really clever. No, you might think that that's like a heating element thing, but no, it's just a cool pattern. Nice. I've had this mug since I was 18. So that is a 16-year-old mug. Is that math right? Yeah, it's 16 years old. I dare say it's older than some of the people watching this show.
I don't know about the ads as I'm a sub, but I got back to the computer to see the count at 7 seconds. AIDS, you shouldn't have an ad then. And thank you for your subscription. It is very nice.
That's weird.
Thank you.
That's interesting.
Appreciate it.
We'll do something. We'll figure something out with the intros, I think.
How has the week been, everyone? Anything interesting happened for you guys? Over on this end of the world, the cat has nuzzled his nose with the dog.
Oh, which one?
This seems like big news. It's Twicky.
Twicky. But Twicky's the one that's been kind of more belligerent with the cat as well.
Yeah,
there was
a really interesting moment. The cat walked across the room, had to go between the two dogs, which could have been sketchy, but wasn't. So that was great. Gets to the door, pops his tail kind of in the air like, yeah, I know you want to smell my ass. By the way, this is an R-rated show. And
is that R-rated?
I'm just, as I'm using
remembering
ass instead of butt,
that's
I'm
fair.
just
that's
re-engaging my sinful brain here for you guys. Nothing sinful is about to happen though, just adorableness. So he turns and he looks, and there's little he's not in here right now. There's a little Twicky, and he goes. The cat says, like a little question mark, and then reaches forward with his little his head and puts his nose against. I know.
May I please touch your nose with my nose?
I was really impressed.
I love this question from Sarah. What is the weirdest subscription you have? I have a subscription to these amazing tomatoes. I love white tomatoes and they're amazing. Are we talking about like Twitch subscriptions or like subscriptions to like a service of some sort? Like, are you having these tomatoes delivered to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious too. Ooh, hi JCD. It's good to see you. 2 job interviews that I'm currently waiting to hear back from. Wow.
Ooh, good luck, JCD.
Ooh, good luck. Which
you didn't get the one on the Cinter Prize. I'll tell you that now. I'm sorry.
The Cinter Prize is like, if it goes the big ship we saw in today's episode and then the Cerrito, the Cinter Prize would be like
Vancouver.
A few below that for sure.
It's like Vancouver, Cerritos, Cinter Prize. You don't want to be here.
To be very clear, Sarah gets the tomatoes and then eats them with the mouth. Specifically.
It's an R-rated show. Yeah, got it. I did want to address this. Wandering Winder says, this episode is being recorded on August 30th, 2024, and we're not covering past tense. Correct. That's a Deep Space Nine episode, which covers, I believe this is the one that covers the Bell riots. And it takes place,
is that today?
That's today. It takes place in 2024, August 30th. So yes.
How are we not doing that? What the fuck?
How am I going to break up Lower Decks with a random a 2-part episode, mind you, of Deep Space Nine?
All right.
I mean, but yes, in hindsight, it would have been perfect, and I apologize.
What do you mean it would have been more than perfect? Yeah. When will this day ever come again? It's not like we can.
Well, quite. It's not ever going to come again, is it? We'll do it next week and just be more informed. You see, we couldn't do it today because we don't know that the riots aren't going to happen. We still have a lot of today left. Exactly. Thank you, Saruthi. Yes, really not a good sign. Yeah.
I am like, what? I'm super shocked. But you know what? It's your show. You can do whatever you want.
Partly because I forgot until someone mentioned it. There are so many dates. There are so many dates in Star Trek to remember.
That's a big what? Never mind. I'm not going to give you any more shit. You're the one that has to sleep at night knowing that this has happened.
Also, I think every podcast will be doing it, and we want to be the ones that stand out and cover an episode of Lower Decks from 2020 instead.
And there's your answer, everyone.
That's what we're doing.
There is the answer that you didn't know that you needed. There it is. Yep. In other news, Ian and I have decided to restart our Baldur's Gate gaming recently. And so that has been a delightful addition to my life because I stopped playing video games and started doing other things. And I'm like, I really want to play. And I play Minecraft with my family, and that's really, really fun. But Baldur's Gate is super different. And we had such an epic battle.
It was so great.
It was insane. And so
it would have been perfect to stream it.
Oh my God.
Like it very quickly was a fight where we realized we knew it was going to happen and we prepared ourselves.
Yeah.
But after the first round, it went sideways so quick. We were like, we're ready to reload and just do this again because we got so screwed.
Let's be specific. So where we're at in the game at this point is we went into the Underdark to save the gnomes from being oppressed by the
deep gnomes by the Duragar.
So I don't, or the Duragar, whatever. So I don't know if that gives anybody a specific place, and I don't know if there's like a specific moment in time. But it was crazy because we were even like, okay, we know that any second now we're going to kick this thing off, and we're completely surrounded by like dwarves, dark dwarves that are like hitting oxen, which by the way we definitely took the time to talk to these cool, like deep dark oxen, and
we did.
My paladin that I'm playing was feeling all the feelings like these people are just so unrighteous, and she wants to kick their ass.
Save the animals. We don't have a druid, but we were all feeling very druid.
We were feeling well, yes. My paladin, she's not. And it's funny because we're playing this video game, but we're also trying to be like stay true to character because we're Dungeons and Dragons
100%.
players.
Yeah, roleplay that.
So if the drow is talking, we're like, well, what would the drow do? And if and if my dragon, what is it called?
A dragonborn.
Dragonborn. If the dragonborn is paladin is talking, then more likely we're going to get ourselves in trouble. So a couple of things happened in this one, and I have to tell you guys about it because I think you'll appreciate this. Number one, we ended up kicking ass, and it was such an epic fight because it got sketchy, and we did great. We some super clutch moves, and we have had some stumble. We've had some stumbles lately.
There are battles where the most damage that has been done is friendly fire. We just misclicked, and I've been attacked.
My Dragonborn paladin's named Tavi, Tavi, and Ian, go ahead with yours.
And my drow. Wait, my drow sorcerer is called Nai, Nai.
Yeah. Hi, Slab. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
I want a Bavarian thing today. I want a Bavarian donut.
So that's number one. And number two is we had a couple of things happen where there's this NPC named Karlak who was potentially a devil, but is actually a tiefling. And there's another NPC that has been trying to hunt this person down. And they kind of have this like fight amongst themselves at the camp one night. And some sketch happens, and the prompt comes up and says, like, you should probably go to sleep to find out more. Well, we go to sleep, and then a devil shows up and really just causes some havoc and everything. And so we're going around and talking at camp to all the NPCs to update the journals and to make sure that we kind of know what's going on, reacquaint we've taken almost 8 months off this game or something. So
100%.
We're kind of lost in a way.
There are so many story threads that we're like, yeah, I'll answer this. I know what this means.
We remember that word. Yeah. Or where that book is that we are referencing right now.
I know who the Absolute is.
Karlak was fucking bonkers in this fight. It was so cool.
OP. She is my baby.
They're kind of giving you shit for the name Nye.
Oh,
because it's Ian.
If I don't have like a second to think up a name, it's just my name backwards.
Can I tell you I didn't notice that till
she didn't notice. I had to tell her a few hours in. She had no idea. She was like, "Nye, how did you come up with that?" And I'm like,
I forgot.
It just came to me.
So we're talking around the campfire.
Oh, hell yeah.
And there was Ian's character grows up to talk to Karlak and see what's going to happen, but not because of what you think, because my character went up to talk to, what's her name?
The Githyanki. What's her name?
What's the Githyanki's name? It's from the very, very beginning. She's like the super intense one.
Forks. Somebody will immediately say it.
Nye means flute, and I did not know that.
That's why I did it.
Lizelle, yes.
Lizelle,
GCD. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Okay. So anyway, Lizelle super came on to my character.
Hard.
It was awesome and awkward.
You didn't have to like gerrymander that conversation at all.
No.
Like she instigated everything.
She was talking about like, your scent drives me mad. Like it was a super sexy, really intense. And I sat there and I looked over at Ian and I was like, okay, so what would my Dragonborn character be into? And I think like intense, like animalistic pleasures. She's vibing. So anyway, rumor has it around the camp that Lizelle is going to be visiting my Dragonborn character sometime.
To taste her.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing. And it was in that moment I was like, I'm kind of like both glad that we're not broadcasting right now and also sad that we're not broadcasting right now. Oh, man.
Oh, that's amazing.
Good shit. She is intense. It's like she went from you fool, we're going to die. Get your shit together because we've got to get to Baldur's Gate and get this thing out of our head or wherever she wants us to go. And it swung over into, I want to taste your scales.
Yeah.
And I was
like,
wow, you know what?
What can you do?
She wants her scales tasted, I guess. Let's just go forward. So that was fun. So anyways, we're playing Baldur's Gate now for 2 reasons. It's fucking fun. And there's also apparently fucking. And I didn't know that.
And that's the 2 reasons, really. It's not to like scratch our D&D itch at all.
No.
But the battle, like, it went sideways because these like the Duragar Nomi people immediately like take control of a few of our characters.
Not gnomes. They were not.
But they're kind
gnomes.
of like dark. They're like evil gnomes.
I didn't think so. I thought they were dwarves.
There might be evil dwarves.
I thought they were
right.
dark dwarves.
Anyway, they're evil. So they mind control literally 3 of our party and start attacking us. And we take some big hits in that first round. But Danae does some clutch healing. And then I use a haste scroll on Karlak, who is a barbarian. And any of you D&D nerds out there.
Thanks, Mark.
A hasted barbarian is a fiend.
4
attacks.
4 attacks.
And then I could have another one on my bonus action because I was all raging and frenzied. So that was 5 attacks with advantage. So Karlak was just like with double movement jumping around the entire map and just destroying people,
great.
just making smushy messes out of all of the bad guys. It was so
I think
fun.
it's our best loot drop to date as well.
Yeah.
Because this was a big character that was the main bad of this fight, and like my paladin squared up to that person and we just did some pretty great work.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun
as well.
But to the point, and also truly it's so fun to re-emerge into Dungeons and Dragons through a video game.
Yeah.
Because all of the
it's
spells
such a great
are familiar.
translation.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know how they pulled it off, to be honest. The narrators are big. The narrator and the roll dice is really clever. Like that's a really having a DM there that is an organic kind of DM is really clever.
Her with tavern brawler feat breaks fights.
Oh, I will make a note of that. I mean, she's pretty broken already.
She's crazy. Well, the haste spell did help quite a bit.
Yeah, the haste helped. I need to. Well, the thing is, just to get super nerdy, as soon as Nye levels up to, I think we get to level 6. I think he can take haste as a spell. So you're just gonna like take it as a spell and just haste.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Honestly, I also want to say that I forget how important sometimes it is to just play a video game that has a level of complexity. Minecraft is fun, mindless behavior. You're just building stuff and it's just very, the stakes are low. But when you're doing a really intricate battle with your character and an NPC and all of these other characters, there's so many things that this game does really interestingly. And maybe the last thing that I should say before this becomes the Baldur's Gate podcast, is there was this time when we were, I think somebody threw, let's say it was like grease or something and like lit it on fire. So there was this area that was on a flame and we were all sort of like together. And so one of our characters threw water on it. And so now it's like kind of like steamy on the map. It looked like a little steamy or something. Like it was kind of put out and now it's like a little wet. And then I shot what I thought was going to be smart, but I did some lightning stuff and it electrocuted the puddle.
Yep.
and so now everyone's taking lightning damage instead of just potentially. So we're really just messing our way through this game.
I did more damage to us than any of the NPCs that were fighting us. We took the most damage from that electrified bolt. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was nuts. And we're falling upwards. We're failing upwards. Whatever the. But it's so neat that the game is thinking about that stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
it really
like,
is.
Is there water nearby? And then we realized that his character had something on their person that was electrifying them. And that was part of like what happened is that it electrified
my sword was
area.
electric.
So it kind of, So very, very, very cool. It's very fun when a game sucks you in Link. Yes. And we stopped playing and then we picked it up. I was honestly wondering if we were going to start all over again, but I'm super back into it.
Like we were tempted. Yeah. We restarted the save and we was like, oh, we kind of remember where we are now.
To change the subject, what is the thing behind the name that looks like Baymax with really long legs? That's a character.
Yeah.
That is a rock character from Dreamland Chronicles, which is a Scott Sava webtoon. It was one of the very first webtoons. I think it was the first webtoon I ever came across that really sucked me in and got me into webcomics many moons ago. And I had the privilege of interviewing Scott for an episode of a podcast, and he sent me one. So we interviewed him because he is the director and creator of a movie, an animated movie called Animal Crackers. Mm-hmm. And that's why we were talking to him. And then all of a sudden it clicks for me partway into this that he's the DreamWorks Chronicles guy. And I flipped my shit because it was just an awesome, unexpected thing. And I got a chance to tell him how much I appreciated what he was doing, because at the time he was he was creating it in a 3D kind of like universe. He was using a computer system to create his works rather than just drawing it. So it looked really interesting and different, and it was kind of groundbreaking, and I loved it, and it was a fun story. And so then I kind of nerded out on him publicly. You remember?
That's so fun.
I lost my shit. I'm so glad you guys remember that. Hi, Sean. So anyway, thanks guys. Thank you for that. I'm glad you remember it. I'm glad it brought you joy. So that is one of the characters from the Dreamland Chronicles, the stone giant character. And now that Iris is a little bit older, I think it's time to start opening that back up, because I got through the first part of the first book with her, and we got to the scary dragon, and she was a little bit too little, and she was like, I don't want to. But I think we can go back into it now and she'd be fine.
Yeah.
So we're going to start reading that again soon. And it's fun. A comic, because he sent me the books as well, you all. It was really cool. Yeah. I got some artwork as well. Yeah, that was a really cool day.
Yeah, but did he send you a video game?
I want you to play that video game.
So bad. So bad.
I
was I pre-ordered the new Legend of Zelda game, Echoes of the something? God damn it. Echoes of the someone's gonna do it in the chat. Echoes of the Kingdom?
Echoes of the Echoes.
Echoes of the Past? Anyway. And I was like, I could stream Echoes of Wisdom. That's what I was about to say.
Link got there with Wisdom. Josh got there with the whole title.
And I was like, man, that would be a great game.
This isn't a competition, you guys. Fun. God, sorry.
But I will get shot if I don't stream that first, which is very true. So I think that'll take priority. And there is a new Zelda game, and you actually get to play as Zelda for once, but it hasn't released yet.
There is a new Zelda game, we think.
Nope, 100%. It's definitely coming.
Yeah, it is the one you play as Zelda. I don't know much.
That's the one. It's gonna be fun. I assume it looks really fun. It looks like the Link's Awakening style, which is what I prefer. Hey, should we do a show?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
It is a good day.
Good day to stream.
Okay, so we're going to be recording our podcast, Captain's Pod. You guys know that. That's why you're here. Thank you for watching, those of you who are able to make it live. And thank you guys for watching later, those of you who watch this exact broadcast over on YouTube. And an even bigger thanks to those of you who watch this and still listen to the podcast to hear what you didn't hear so far. I'm just remembering what we talked about before the show. And
it's no better than the previous week.
Filthy animals.
I don't know what's wrong with this, to be honest.
I don't know. While we record the show, there's a little banner that flies across the bottom. So if anybody comes into the show, are you updating our banner, by the way?
I sure freaking am.
Sweet. Thank you. And they're wondering why we're not talking to chat. You hopefully can reference them to that and welcome them into the show. We do pin your comments for later. A lot of times we have the very same thoughts that you do, but as you guys know, we do in fact try to steal your comments because we're terrible people. We don't. Yeah. We don't steal your comments. We do use your comments to continue to influence the show, however, and thank you for all of your thoughts, whether they're the sins during the sin process or like facts that we missed, things from the episode. Those are all things that you guys in the live show get to kind of pepper in that make it into the final edit. But thank you guys for being here. It is R-rated. We are on YouTube. Please click on live comments rather than top comments. We're obviously on Twitch as well. We still stream over to my individual Twitch. Thank you guys for your support over on my personal channel. Someday I will be putting content out there again, I promise. And I think that's it, right? Oh, and happy Bell's Riots Day.
Shut up. Shut up.
Happy Bell Riot Day, everyone. I even knew it was Bell Riot Day today.
Should we have done it? Should we have done past tense? It's a pretty depressing episode. It's pretty depressing.
Absolutely.
It's pretty miserable.
Well, then we should have recorded it ahead of time and done like a special release.
Yeah, okay.
Don't ask me if you don't want to know my answer.
I like to keep people guessing. That's what it is.
A little Debo episode. No, I like Nick. I like that it's Debo.
A Dubbo.
Ian, yeah. Real quick question. It isn't 10 forward on the Cerritos, is it?
It's always 10 forward on the Cerritos somewhere.
Also, hi CDR. It's good to see you. Wait, what do you mean?
I think it. So what I would say is that every ship, if it has 10 decks or more, which most ships have more than 10 decks, have a deck 10 with a forward section. So even if we aren't doing this in the bar, we may just be doing it on a random deck 10 forward section. So we may just be doing this in a corridor.
Okay, but I, until now, thought that they were all called 10 forward, like that was the name of the bar.
No, it's because it's deck 10 forward section, because it's at the front of the ship.
That makes me sad. I thought that it was like that was like the name of the bar.
Well, it is, but it's cool. That's the name of the bar because of where it is. Deck 10 forward section, 10 forward.
I feel like there's just been this like knowledge that everybody knows, and now I don't know it. But now my happy 10 forward life is ruined. Mm-hmm. Thanks, chat.
Yeah, the bar isn't always 10. Sorry, 10 forward isn't always the bar, and the bar isn't always 10 forward.
This is so weird. It's just some random storage area. So if I go to 10 forward on every, so if I go onto a spaceship, starship,
yeah,
and I say take me to 10 forward. It's going to take me to the 10th floor, the forward part of it. 100%. No matter what's there, it won't take me to the bar.
100%. Yeah, it won't. It won't necessarily unless you're on a Galaxy class starship. Then yes, it will take you there.
Sad. Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is bullshit.
We've just shattered Danae's
honestly,
vision
that makes me really sad.
Yeah, they're not all called 10 forward.
This is such bullshit. I hate Star Trek. Let's go.
Enterprise is the mess forward.
I'll start the music up. Let's do some music, I guess.
Okay. Let's go.
No, that's not the right music. I'm gonna push this button here. I guess I'll just fucking push this stupid goddamn. This just in. Sad news, everybody. Your favorite bar isn't actually called 10 forward. Did you want to visit a 10 forward? Fuck that. Apparently it's just a goddamn bar on the 10th floor in the forward part of it. And it could just be a storage area for some other place. This has been your news.
No. I'm sorry, Danae. It's hard.
Have you done your job properly? Do you have the start date correct?
We've done the intro already. Okay, let's do it. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something
it's
from
not
the
10 Forward anymore.
It's not going to make sense until the outtakes.
It doesn't matter. It's not 10 Forward anymore.
We've before we got into this segment, I just had to explain to Danae that all of the bars on starships aren't necessarily called 10 Forward.
This is so sad to me.
On the Enterprise, it's called 10 forward because it's the forward section of deck 10. But everywhere else, it may be in a different location.
I thought it was like a cool
forward.
thing.
It might be 8 forward. It might be 8 dorsal.
Like, you know how when you travel to a different city and you go to your favorite chain restaurant
Mm-hmm.
and you trust it?
Yeah.
That's just been shattered for me.
Yeah.
Because it's not the 10 forward bar.
It is on the Enterprise.
Fuck you. It's not.
No,
it's not. It's the bar.
Yeah, and they call the bar 10
forward. No, yeah. They say, I'll meet you in 10 forward because that was the name of the place, and now it's not the name of the place anymore. I mean, it is for that show, but it's
not. Let's have a drink in 10 forward, the name of the bar, because of where it is. Nothing we can say about this episode will now change how shit Danae feels about
I'm really
that.
Sad.
So, like every ship had a 10 forward? Is that what you?
Yeah, I thought that every ship, like the place where they would go and hang out, was just called 10 forward.
Yeah,
like it was sort of some secret cool code, but it's not.
I mean,
it's not a secret cool code. No,
yeah.
It's not. No,
it's a code for where the bar is located.
It's the closet on deck 4 or some stupid shit.
It might be on the Cerritos.
It doesn't. Now I know that there's not like a cool name for it. It doesn't even have a name. There's not even a name.
No, it does. It has a name. It's 10 forward.
It isn't. That's the location. It's not named 10 forward. It is. It's nothing.
That room is named 10 forward on the Enterprise D. But
it's
everywhere
also
else, it's
named
just the metal.
10 forward on another ship that it's like a coat closet or something.
Yeah, they just don't name it that. They'll just name it the coat closet.
It's not special anymore. It was special, and now it's not special.
Special
anyway,
is whatever we decide to call special.
The thing that's more important, I mean, like, we have to get out of this. This is like a really deep hole. But like, the other problem that I'm having before we can do the show now is that, like, in my mind, no offense.
Oh dear.
This Enterprise was like the shittiest vessel of all Star Trek. Like,
I mean, you know, in so many words, yeah,
we're one sneeze away from derpaprizing ourselves.
Yeah, we look cool, but we
don't have 10
no
decks.
Purpose.
There's no way. We maybe have 3.
No, we have 24.
How do we have 24 decks?
Because we're roughly the same size as the Enterprise E, and I think the E has 24 decks or 26, depending on the movie.
No. We have 3 nacelles, but only 3 decks. We're a 3-3. We're a 3x3.
3 massive fucking decks. You know how high the ceilings would need to be for us to only have 3, or how much empty space there would need to be between decks?
Doesn't matter. We can put up some storage bins. But listen, what I'm saying is that I guess our cool fucking bar is called 3 forward.
No, it's called 2 forward. It's 2 forward, which is perfect for a bar.
Anyway.
Everyone is just 2 forward in here.
I thought it was a cool bar name. It's no longer a cool bar name. Wasn't it called 10 forward when it was on Earth? In one episode where they like visit some place and it was called 10 forward?
Yeah, as an homage.
That is now bullshit.
No, because it's still
that
the
should
name.
Be called, that should be called like the exact address, 1412 West Elm Street. So mad. I'm going through the stages of grief, and now I'm angry.
You're in angry. Acceptance is coming soon.
Yep.
Before we get to that, I don't think it's right to let you near Replicator right now. So just give us a synopsis for the episode. The Cupid's Errant Arrow.
We saw a penis. That's it.
We didn't.
Okay. We imagined one.
That's not unique to this episode.
Did you imagine it with or without foreskin? I don't know.
Yep.
It's up to you because technically it was just a bar. It was a black bar. Speaking of bars, 10 forward's a lie.
Yeah.
Well, what am I supposed to do? I don't remember anything.
Give us a synopsis.
I don't want
to. Shall I do it
You can do it this week.
Okay. While the ambassador is grieving genuinely, I will give us a synopsis. Boimler has a girlfriend. Mariner doesn't believe it. Conspiracies happen. A moon is argued over. References are made. Hilarity ensues. Tendi and Rutherford are nearly transferred after competing over a new bit of technology. And a worm has attached itself to Boimler's head and has been there for apparently months, despite being transported to multiple places and not noticed by anybody, including him. And in the end, the lady breaks up with him for the weirdest reason possible. And how did you feel about the episode this week, Ambassador? Did you like it?
It was okay.
I loved it.
You did?
I love this episode.
Why?
It's so fun. There are so many references in this episode, and it's frantic and it's manic, and I really like it. There's certain things I don't like, relationship stuff, but I have a lot of fun with this episode.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was heavy on the relationship, but I think it redeems itself with a twist at the end that it's actually Boimler who has been wormed all along.
It's amazing. She detected it. What did you like about the episode, Ambassador? Or what is giving you the mid feelings?
Yeah, I don't think this is my favorite episode so far. Like, this might be in the 2 Pipper range for me because it was like a self-destruct episode where you've got Mariner that's trying to sabotage, and then that's sabotaging this relationship by trying to save Boimler. You have Boimler who self-sabotages by trying to become somebody that he's not. And it was just like, it was very all over the place. And I just checked out way more than I usually do. And I also, the B plot, I think, is definitely one that's for the Star Trek fan, you know, where they're doing a lot of the Star Trek tropey thing where you're going to destroy one thing to save another and all of that. So the twist at the end was funny though. I did enjoy when, especially the cursing, like, what the fuck, you know, like all this.
There are 2 fucking people on your whole fucking planet. Blow it up.
Yeah, just instantly, like, get that thing blown up. And the person is lamenting that they just redid their floors, and he even says, like, but we're rich.
Yeah, right. It's amazing.
So I think the twist at the end really saved this episode for me because it was leaning on so many familiar tropes that I was pretty absent. I was typing a lot of like what was happening, but nothing was really capturing my attention. Even the idea that Rutherford and Tendi are kind of like fighting to get this cool new gear, and the lieutenant was trying to get himself transferred at the end. You know, that even wasn't just genuinely capturing me. So yeah, I liked it. I don't think I laughed in this one. I was more like, we were joking around about what we would see this episode, since we were talking about vaginas last episode, you know, and so the couple penis references, it was more like, hey, there it is.
Hey,
you know?
There's a penis. There's Bradwood.
Without that being part of it, I don't know what would have kept me like really attentive on this one.
It's really interesting. It's why I love doing this with you, because it kind of gives me a barometer for my own Trek nerdiness and how I would not make a good reviewer of these shows, because I didn't realize until I watched it this time with a critical eye. I didn't realize how much I love this episode, mainly because of how TNG it is. Like, there is like that, the moon plot. It's one of my favorite B plots because it could be an entire episode that the crew like of the Enterprise D are trying to solve. And like, I love the beginning when they're talking about, we're here to, like, it's a very serious like log entry from Boimler. We're here to deliberately like demolish this moon, and all of the aliens in the room perfectly sum up every single objection that you could have to destroying a moon. One of them mentions it's like religiously important. Someone else says it's just a government conspiracy. Someone says the scientific reason for why the moon has to stay and why it
Like
has
the
to go. The agricultural
tide.
impact, the tides, and then someone else says my family lived there. So you've got emotion, science, religion, conspiracy, all of that, all of those possible reasons that have been brought up in every Star Trek episode about why this simple decision to destroy a moon that will threaten the planet is actually really, really complicated. So that like B plot is one of the rare B plots that really sucks me in. And it's because I'm such a freaking TNG nerd and I love that stuff. Like that's I love that. Here's a problem that's going to happen in the future. How do we fix it?
Yeah. It starts off in that part of the plot. You're looking out and you see this destructive. It almost looked like there was a magma center to it.
Yeah, it was like imploding.
It looked more than just this boring rock moon. It looked very volatile. Anyway, and they're like, yeah, we just gotta take care of this or it's going to kill everybody. It's going to be just a normal Tuesday. And then glance over to the conference room and every single person in the conference room has a reason that they can't destroy it. And you can kind of feel like and thankfully the episode wasn't super heavy in those conversations. We just kind of we drop in, we hear the conversations, we drop out. This episode more centers on, I think like more of why Boimler and Mariner are friends. Like she even says he's my nerd in this episode.
Yeah.
And she's incredibly protective. We get to see a little bit of a backstory as to why she is so protective in this way. And the confusion of all of us as to why this woman is attracted is kind of solved in this unique way. So that's where the episode spends most of its time, which is true to Lower Decks. We're not spending a lot of time with the A-Team. And thank God, because it was all in the conference room.
And Freeman acts how I would like to think that I would be Picard in this situation, but I would be much more Freeman. Like she just gets so moody with everyone. She's like, why am I having these dumbass arguments? Fine, we'll give you some moon to worship. My favorite line in the whole thing is, we're going to relocate you all to the 6th moon because that's going to become the 5th moon anyway, technically. Yes. Because we're going to blow up the 5th moon. So, and it's just, that's genius. And the alien's just like, oh yeah, I guess we will still live on the 5th moon. That's so great.
The solutions when we cut back and she's like, okay, so this is what we're doing. They all seem to make a lot of sense. They all clear the room and then the one remaining rich guy is like, but you're going to kill everybody on my moon if you do this. And then she's like, well, fuck. You know, like,
fuck.
We got to solve this problem.
I will say, I agree with you. The frustrating bit for me, and this just, no matter how you do it, I'm not going to enjoy this. It's the relationship jealousy, competitive, sitcom-y thing that it feels very like kind of 90s and early noughts, and just relationship jealousy. Yes, it's real, but it's really annoying to see it portrayed on. I'm just like, skip. Like, there's a reason we skip a lot because no matter how you execute it, the bones of it is really frustrating. But it is, this is true to how I feel Boimler would act in this situation. He would make an ass out of himself. He would be insecure, and Mariner is playing into those insecurities by being like so incredulous that a woman like Barbara would be with Boimler. The most logical explanation is that she's an alien or that it's a trick, not because she likes Boimler. And she's so convinced of this that she takes it all the way to the extreme. So that's the humor that I pull from it. And I just kind of eye roll at anything that Boimler does throughout the episode.
Yeah, Boimler was a little bit much for me. Mariner going over the top, I think, is more believable. Whether it's because she might be self-imploding and self-sabotaging and ruining something because she's bored, or because she's genuinely caring in her own weird way. And in this episode, it is that she's caring in her own weird way. And the backstory is that she did have a friend that was in love with somebody who had a great relationship, who turned into some sort of like wacky creature that killed her in front of her eyes. And that's pretty intense. I do have a question
Not
about that
again.
scene. Yeah.
Yes.
So in that scene, they're talking about Data's brother joining the Borg, and
Yeah.
it seems like it's like in history somewhere. So is this a concurrent timeline where that would be news, or is it like they're just talking about the past? I guess.
Yeah. So Lower Decks happens, I think, someone's going to come at me, but I think it's like 2380-ish is when this happens. It kind of continues after when the final TNG movie happens. I think it takes place around about that time or just
Okay.
afterwards. So that would be let me get this right. That would be like 5 years after Descent, which is the episode of TNG that they're referring to, where
Gotcha.
Lore goes with the Borg. So if this is a flashback, yeah, it's a flashback to season 7 of TNG when Mariner was on a different ship wearing those uniforms, or it would have happened like a few months earlier or something like that. But yeah, so that is happening concurrently. This is very close to the TNG era, which is why it's like a lot of the tech looks familiar. The L cars, like all of the data systems, the computer screens all look very similar. The phasers and tricorders look similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that flashback kind of gives us that confidence that, Mariner is going over the top because she cares for Boimler. And like you said, she has arrived at the conclusion that something is very off, and she's not wrong. But the place where it goes that I think I didn't expect and I appreciated, which is what saves this episode for me, is that Barbara was doing the exact same to her.
Yes.
And that fight sequence at the end about how they're both really concerned about each other and their
what are
care of
you doing
Boimler.
being friends with Boimler? Like, it's the same question that Barbara has. Like,
Yeah.
they're both aware of who he is.
Yes. And that was really unexpected, because you kind of I sort of expected that maybe she was gonna be something and that they were gonna remove this character, because I don't remember her showing up at any other time in the future. But
No, I don't think she does.
It doesn't go that way. And instead, we just got to see what life was like on this, high class ship where they're doing some pretty crazy stuff and working hard. And we got to kind of see a little bit of jealousy from our team, both with their crew and the relationships that are on that crew and their technology, but an ultimate decision that where they are is where they want to be, which is nice.
The Tendi and Rutherford C plot ends up in a weird place with like the guy wanting to transfer off of the Vancouver, and that being the final nail in the coffin that they want to stay on the Cerritos. But I do love them as a vessel for nerdery. At the beginning, like, they are the hardcore Trek specific like technology nerds, because they're geeking out over how cool the Vancouver looks, which is my like first instinct as well. Like, I love the Cerritos, it's adorable. And even though the Vancouver is very similar, it's still a saucer section with 2 nacelles on it. It does look cooler. And that's such like whoever designed that ship knows why it looks cooler in like a Trek mind than the Cerritos. It's got the nacelles that look more like the Enterprise E cells, so they're more like kind of angular. It has like the cool on the saucer section. It has like a more angular, like shaded part. It's slightly sleeker. Like the nacelles are kind of just angled a little bit differently. So there's so many subtle design things where I'm like, yeah, the Vancouver does look cooler than the Cerritos.
It
and
looks
here's
like
why.
a sled.
But it's so fucking cool.
Which I can relate to being on a sled more than I can relate to being on a starship. Maybe that's why we think it's cool, is because we've been on a sled in the snow.
Maybe that's it.
I mean, I assume you've been on a sled in snow.
Oh, I absolutely have, yeah. At least once.
But yeah, Tendi and Rutherford are the geeks, because they're like double mesh, or all these different things that they're just...
the new scanner.
But they're also thieves now.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing Tendi's backstory, I can believe it. Rutherford, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I guess it's all belongs to Starfleet, so I guess it's okay. Is how you could maybe rationalize it. I've pinched things when I visited other stores because I'm like, why are you stockpiling this thing that I'm not allowed to order? I'm going to take that back to my shop because I need it. I've absolutely done that, and I'm quite a goody two shoes.
I like how you're confident to admit that you're
Yeah,
you're a
I'm not
thief.
even going to tell you which retailer that was of the 5 that I've worked for.
Chat's
It was
pointing
all of
out
them.
that there is a Rutherford backstory that helps us to make it makes it more believable as well. And I just don't remember that.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
that'll
Well,
be
that may
something to discover
be.
later, I suppose.
Yeah, that might be in season 2 and then revisited in 3. I think it's in 3, but it was a while ago since we've done that.
And also pointed out in the chat was that Rutherford blackmailed the lieutenant in that episode with the recorded thing for this tricorder.
Fair.
So that's
Yeah.
true. He does have some sketch going on.
He sure does. Quickly back before we move on way past it, the flashback to Mariner on the other ship. I can't remember the name of the ship, but it was an Olympic class ship. This was the first time that they acknowledged the other. You okay?
Yes, my phone just started to go off. I apologize. Go on.
This was the first time that the show kind of acknowledged that the uniforms, like in my brain, it was silly, but the uniforms still exist. Like the ones with the purple pads and like the black from Deep Space Nine and the D&G movies. I was like, I know those uniforms, and I think this is the first time we've seen them animated. So it was really fun to see that era of Star Trek animated as well. And you've got Mariner's kind of like Deanna style hair that I really loved, as if that's like this was the fashion in the 2375s, because like Deanna had that hair, Mariner has that hair as well. So yeah, I that was a really smart little flashback. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I liked it too. I believed right away that we were at some point in the past.
Yeah. The other things I love about this episode is just it's a massive reference fest. So I totally get why it can be a little bit
so
inaccessible. All of Mariner's conspiracies, she lists like the Delphines, the Suliban, an undercover Cardassian that's been genetically altered is another plot. Transporter doubles is another plot. There's a salt monster that's on her conspiracy board as well.
I saw that one.
Even the little worm that attaches itself to Boimler is very much like the Wrath of Khan worms that control you. Like, I don't think there's anything in this episode that isn't like a reference to something else. Boimler describes the hunky ex-boyfriend as a Kirk Sunday with trip sprinkles. Like, you got 2 references in one there. But I love it because in my brain it activates this deep part of my brain so much. But yeah, I kind of love that certain episodes are unapologetically screaming at the fans as well, which can have the consequence of being inaccessible, but it's a lot of fun if you
it's like going to a Thai restaurant where they're like, what do you mean no spice? This is Thai food. Yeah. Like you're gonna have some spicy food here. If you don't like it, go someplace else.
Everything is in Italian.
It is very This
you
one's
need to be able to read
definitely
Italian to appreciate this.
Oh, it was double lattice. It was double lattice.
I can't believe you got that wrong. It's incredible. It's amazing.
Apologies.
So we mentioned it earlier, but the scene where Mariner just barges in on Boimler and he's naked, did that get like a genuine chuckle out of you? Because it was the first time I think we'd seen complete nudity in Star Trek, minus a deliberate black bar sensor, which is, again, it reminds you that you're in a cartoon and watching a TV show because somebody has animated a black bar to go there, which is a very non-Star Trek thing to do. So I remember getting a huge laugh out of me when I first watched it.
I didn't see that and think, oh, I didn't expect that. I think it was, I like that he had meat on his bones.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like it seemed like he's had some burgers, like it wasn't just the super scrawny little. Yeah, he had some shape, and I really liked that. I thought it was kind of funny that he immediately gets knocked out, but he's just kind of gently covered, like, and he misses all of the fun. I don't think that was for me. I wasn't really focusing on that as much as I'm like, where is this episode going to land? Because I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm beyond ready for this episode to land. And then it gets to the part where he has the parasite.
Yeah.
And then it transitions pretty quickly from him being like, you know, do you want to go on a date with me, to like the worm saying it. And I really
date me.
yeah, date me. And I enjoyed that. I mean, it's sinful as heck, because I just do not believe that it's possible unless he has not touched his head.
Oh, it's insane. And that's wild.
It's difficult for me to, like, this one, maybe more than any so far, is so firmly planted in the animation category more than it is realistic.
For a lot of reasons, yeah.
But well, I don't think the significance of the nudity was something that like pinged for me.
Yeah, I think it for the first time it pushed Lower Decks for me firmly into like the adult category, which it obviously is. There's swearing, there's blood and gore, but like this is like really brave Star Trek, because TNG is obviously very stuffy. We love it, but it clearly has like a set of rules that it's sticking to. DS9 bends them a little bit. Voyager doesn't really at all. So to have a show in the TNG area that's this outrageous, like by episode 5, I'm just like, oh, Lower Decks is like doing the references, but pushing into an adult, like 2020s as well, like a really kind of more modern, less kind of stuffy approach to Star Trek as well, which I just kind of thought made it a little bit more accessible considering the reference fest.
I did like the idea that Mariner is so determined, and she gets out there, she flies through space, she kicks into the space, and she just happens to like go into the room right before the bound chick go out. And I don't even remember what Boimler said as he turned around, but it was, I wish I did. Because
I think he's just like, stop looking at me. Don't look.
No, he turns around with some kind of comment like,
oh,
like to come on to Barbara. He had like a come on line.
He did.
And it was, and I remember trying to go, what was that? What did you just say? Because it would have probably been something.
Super nerdy. Super nerdy.
So he spins around in this chair and stands up, and then there's just this like reaction, and that was really, you know, fun for me. I'm also thankful, again, going to reference the live chat, because there's comments happening that is like, if the worm didn't want to be found and it was controlling Boimler, then it wouldn't have let him touch his hair, which totally makes sense now that I think about it that way. I don't know that
it's controlling Boimler.
I don't know.
I think it's just releasing. It's releasing attractive pheromones.
But it's controlling his speech.
Is it?
Yeah, because he's saying the same thing that the worm is saying. I'm confused about what the worm's like.
How much control does it have?
Right. What is, because is the worm able to, is that it just wants Boimler to be the host, and so they're gonna, that's just the relationship they have? Or does it have like an agenda to take over a starship? And
like, no, it was literally just, this is how it reproduces, was that it makes the host attractive so that it can have babies, and then it kind of slips its own babies in there, I think.
Gross.
Yeah. Oh, super gross. But I think the speech thing is weird. Yeah. Because that's the only time we really see it control him.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of confused about what the point of that would be.
Punchline.
Because in the right, exactly. It's very much, again, that animated like punchline. This is a meaningless moment because it's over now, and the gig is up, and the show is just going to move on.
This is a fun way to end the episode.
What is this species' end goal? Is it just to take over a body host and then just survive, or is it what most viruses do, which is try to duplicate themselves somehow? So I thought that it was going to be more of a like steal the shuttle and run off with technology or something like that.
No, I think it's just to reproduce.
I don't know.
Well, since we've technically started, shall we officially head over to engineering and do some sinning?
Sure. We have an engineering, right? That's not going to change.
I mean, it's just called engineering. I wouldn't go giving it a specific name. Like, middle ship. She's really upset. Where's my intro's gone? This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sim brains, remind ourselves that no TV shows have outseen even our beloved Star Trek. Ambassador, give us a sin.
Boimler leaves his presents to Barbara on the ground, and maybe it's because he's a parasite. I don't know. But he had an adorable bear that was all forged up, and then she shows up, and he just forgets that he has flowers and this adorable bear, and he drops them on the floor so that he can give her a hug, and then they walk out. And that bear, to my knowledge, is still sitting there.
I think, doesn't he? Yeah. He picks it up later in the episode when he thinks that Barbara and her ex-boyfriend are doinking in the shuttle. But then I think he drops them again.
I didn't see that part. Probably because I was bored.
But yeah,
something else.
It's fair. I think he dropped. But that Telly, we didn't mention how adorable the visor teddy bear is.
How dare you drop it in the first place?
How dare you give it away? Buy that and keep it for yourself. Goodness. We did mention how the zapping the moon because of the two rich people, like that has their house on it. How that's completely like it's the right thing to do objectively. However, is it? Because I wondered if it was kind of a reference to Insurrection. Because in Insurrection, one of the big plot points is that the evil Starfleet admiral wants to evacuate this planet because they can use the planet to save millions and millions of lives, and it only means relocating a few hundred Baku, the aliens that live there. And Picard's big speech is, I don't care if it's a few hundred, a million, 1,000, or a dozen. At what point do you draw the line where it's wrong? So if you take it down to just 2 people, Picard would argue that's still wrong. You still shouldn't, whether it's 2 people or 2 million, you shouldn't forcibly relocate anybody unless you can really justify it and unless you can get them to agree. So I like that as a thought experiment. Is she actually breaking the prime directive there by just saying, yeah, fuck it, blow the moon up. I don't care if it's just 2 people living there, blow it up.
Yeah, I don't know. She did it, though.
She sure did.
She sure did.
No further.
Tendi
Line
slapped
must
a
be drawn
lieutenant.
here. Yes.
She slapped somebody.
Sure fucking did.
Just to check to make sure that it was a dream. It was actually really fucking hilarious. I didn't laugh, funny. But that was pretty funny. I didn't expect her to slap him just to make sure that he was real. But she still got away with that. So I guess maybe he was putting up with it because technically he was wanting to transfer himself.
That's true.
But here's the sin. So why not let him transfer? It wasn't like, was it that there was going to be a trade? Like 2 of them for 1 of him? Is that
it's
what
insane.
We were supposed
like,
to? Like,
I know we were talking about the parasite a lot, but this is the C plot that I really don't understand. I don't know what his plan was. He was saying that he was going to trade them 2 for him. And somehow that means the transfer will go unnoticed. I don't understand that logic because his post is still going to be unattended. Is he filling 2 slots on the Cerritos? Like, why are they filling that part? Why are them 2 filling his one position?
But the show did say that he was going to replace 2 of them. That's why they were so adamant about stopping it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
think
heard.
I kind of missed part of that, probably because I stopped paying attention.
Yeah. It's really confusing what his plan is and why he doesn't just ask for a transfer as well. Just like the stress is too much. He's not asking for a promotion. He's essentially asking for a demotion. Like, move me to an easier ship. Like, this is really fucking hard. I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, that was a big part that I couldn't get my head around. I would have given a sin removal for the fact that Mariner asks for an emergency transport, appears to make up a code, and I was like, it's gonna happen, and then the guy's just like, get off this line. Did you just make up a code? No, I'm not gonna emergency beam you somewhere, quit it. But then I would immediately follow that up with, okay, emergency transport isn't allowed, but she can just go on a spacewalk on her own with no code. She just leaves the ship, accesses another ship from the outside, Like, that seems way more dangerous than allowing an emergency beam out.
I guess so.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of this episode that's confusing when you think about, like, I know for dramatic effect that Mariner is going to try to figure out what kind of a creature she is. But if a bioscan to find out if she's human or not was that quick, that would be stop number one.
Instead
we don't need to be cutting off hair, you know?
Instead of doing the high-pitched scream that she does through the tricorder during that briefing, just walk behind her and scan her. Like, I don't know. And on that note, if the tricorder picks up the parasite in Boimler that quickly, and it was months ago, or like a month ago, how did the biofilters not find it? How did any of the scanners not find it? Like, this easily detectable parasite should have been easily detected.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, I'm afraid. Not on this show. I did have another follow-up that, and this is going to hurt me, but I'm sinning the references, because references are great when they work, but at least, and they make sense, like, internally, but at least two of the creatures that she mentioned, it wouldn't have been a bad idea if they had loved Boimler. So the Delphine is just a person, it's just a shapeshifter. I think I'm right. And so that wouldn't be like, I think one of them falls in love with Wesley, so it wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world. And the other one was a transporter clone. What's wrong with a transporter clone falling in love with Boimler? There's no like conspiracy there, or it's just a double. It's just a twin. It's not inherently evil, just because Riker's one ended up being a bit mischievous. Yeah. Make sure your references make sense. Your turn,
like
Ambassador.
Yeah. I'm looking through and I'm trying to see if I have any more on my notes before I go over to the chat. I just remembered part that I like though from my notes. When she's like, I'm going to try waving my hands through her though. This is so funny.
Yes.
And she says something about the holodeck and he goes, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
If there's any skin contact, it's just the cost of doing business.
My phone is going off. I'm just going to check to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
As a mother, my phone going off makes me nervous. Nope. It's just Duolingo reminding me that I need to practice my Spanish.
Good.
Thank you.
Oh, this is a good sin from Sci-Fi Brony that I did actually note. The fact that Boimler walks in with that is like, replicate me the clothing from all of the coolest people in history. And you're like, oh my God, what a nerd. But the funny twist is that Barbara is like, oh, you looked sexy as hell, and then you screwed it up. I was like, oh, it worked. They actually did think he looked cool and sexy in all of the different outfits.
What?
I love that humor beat. He replicates all of the different clothing with like the visor, and the sports jacket, and the shoes.
Yeah.
He spills coffee over her, but after that, she says, "You
hot beer."
Yeah, hot beer. That's it.
Hot, cold. We actually don't know what it was because he kind of tried to correct it. Yeah.
It's amazing. But after all of that, she says to him, "You walked in here looking sexy as hell, and then you screwed it up."
No,
so
she was talking about when he arrived on the ship, not in that room.
No, I thought it was when he arrived in the room, as like a nod to, we think he looks like a nerd, but that actually worked.
I didn't take it that way.
Okay.
But you know what? Humor is subjective. Sins are also subjective.
Yeah. There was one more nod that I wanted to point out that I forgot about in the main show. And it's the Mariner is running through the corridor and says something like, "Get out of the way, Jennifer," and pushes down
Jennifer,
an
right?
Andorian, and it's her girlfriend.
Oh,
it's her
Jennifer.
Andorian girlfriend from later. I love it. I think this is the first time she pops up. I love that.
Oh, I remember what I was going to get out of the duplicator.
Yeah.
Wow. The replicator at the top of the show. I just found it in my notes. I would like to replicate twice as that. I want to be thatter.
That's what you want.
So fucking stupid.
I want to be thatter.
I want to be
twice
thatter.
as that.
Twice as that. Oh my God. Can you imagine though, like being able to just tell the replicator, I want to be fashionable.
Really vague. Yeah. As vague as possible and see what it comes up with.
I kind of love that idea.
Yeah. Computer would be like, we need more parameters, please.
I want to be thatter. And then you just see what the computer thinks thatter is.
It's like asking an AI what it thinks. This picture's great, but it needs to be thatter.
It needs to be thatter. There's something not quite right about it. It's not quite thatter.
That's amazing. I did have a little internal giggle. Actually, no, it was an outward giggle when they said, "Oh, and did you hear how amazing the door whooshes were?" Whoosh.
You loved that part.
I love that so much. Whoosh. Beautiful. Oh, and here's a note that Lower Decks invented I'm Just Ken before Barbie had a chance to with I'm Just Brad. He actually says I'm just Brad. I'm just Brad.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't think I have anything else noted in mine.
Lovely. Well, a mixed bag, and I think you pipped it 2 pips.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly acceptable. I think as a someone not as versed in Star Trek, I think it's a 2-pipper. I think if you're knee deep in Star Trek and TNG, I think I can see it being a 3-pipper. I'm going to give it 3 pips because I love the references. This is the most I've probably laughed at an episode other than like episode 2, I think. I really, really like this episode, but I get it. I get that it's a tricky one to access. And at the end of the show here, I will apologize that we haven't covered Past Tense, which is an episode of Deep Space Nine that takes place on August 30th, 2024, which happens to be the day that we are recording. I will never live that down. It will always be a fixed point in time and space that in the 2300s, maybe somebody will come back and fix, and we will actually do that. I apologize, everyone, for not covering the Bell Riots. Next week, we actually already covered next week's episode, which is season 1, episode 6, Terminal Provocations. This is the episode that introduces Badgie, the comm badge, the holodeck program.
Did we do this one in our Bad Guys series, or was that just, or did we watch it to prepare for something? Because Badgie would be a really interesting one to add into any kind of episode where you're wanting to introduce a bad guy.
Yeah, it's because Badgie was in the season 3 post-credits scene. He's floating through space. So we did it ahead of season 4 to kind of have a bit of a catch-up. This also has that random other lower decker that Mariner and Boimler get into trouble and they end up like taking under their wing, and he has like the really curly hair, and we thought it was the same guy that ascended.
Yeah.
But it's not. So that's his appearance in this episode as well. He ends up getting promoted immediately and going off to another ship. So that's the brief recap of Terminal Provocations. So next week, we will be doing season 1, episode 7, which is called Much Ado About Boimler. It's one of my favorites from season 1. I really, really like this episode. And yeah, thank you for joining us this week. Thank you for enduring our chaos and our mayhem. If you want to reach out and talk to us, we have a lovely Discord channel for Captain's Pod listeners on the Cinema Sins Discord, discord.gg/cinemasins. And hey, send us an email, captainspod@cinemasins.com. You guys are the best. I'm Captain Ian, and from me, this is a starship, not heaven.
And for me, I definitely can smell some toasting marshmallows.
Live long and prosper.
Because remember, I had s'mores.
You literally did.
It all connected.
Together.
It's all coming together.
I think that was the most chaotic episode we've ever recorded.
Why?
Like, I couldn't even get through the 10 forward intro because it triggered you so hard. I thought you never recovered.
I haven't recovered.
No matter how good the episode was,
No,
you're just not
no.
going to recover from
It
that.
just doesn't. I'm not gonna recover from that.
Yeah.
It's a sad day.
It's a very sad day.
Surreal question. Moopsie versus Danae Sadness over 10 forward.
Oh my goodness. Danae's. This is the Swamp of Sadness.
Yeah.
It's actually retroactively going back in time and creating the Swamp of Sadness.
You know what? Sometimes though, CDR, like, you're just the bearer of facts that is somebody's bad news.
Yeah.
And I don't quite understand why it's hit me so hard, but it has. And it's not your fault. It's the truth. And somebody was going to tell me eventually. And I'd rather it be one of the friends of the show, honestly. I mean, where better to have my Star Trek dreams crushed than live with you, right?
Right. 100%.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't need to happen later. It can just happen right.
No.
We'll just peel the Band-Aid off.
Imagine if we hadn't been recording.
I need to know the truth. And the truth is that there's no special place on any starship.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Is that a clipboard? Oh, so this is from Moco Made, which is one of my all-time favorite Twitch channels. Many of you actually know about it. And they make leather goods. And that's a brother-sister duo. And when I first found them, they were most exclusively making leather hookah hoses. So people who do hookah, they would create the leather that goes over the hose. And she, the sister, custom paints them. So he was over there making the hoses and she was doing all this custom. And I called them the Hookie Smookies. And then I've also called some of their stuff for their channel, like their little icons, like little gerbil. It's not a gerbil. It's actually a leather cutter, but to me, it looked like a gerbil. And so they made me this little custom piece of this little gerbil smoking a little hookie smookie and using, and they sent that to me.
That's amazing.
You thought it was a clipboard too.
It has all the hallmarks of being a very tiny clipboard.
I will say I've had this now for a while and the leather is still so soft and the paint, there we go. The paint on it is so crisp and so beautiful. And you can see how like she faded the blue. It's not flaking off at all. She will custom paint like shoes. She'll custom paint all things leather. And now they do a lot more with leather. They stream every single day, Monday through Friday. In fact, they're live right now. And they have a very active audience. They're all very artistic people. So they share people's art. It's very community based. So if you're ever wanting a place to pop in and just watch, they're very much an R-rated show also. They talk about life. I love how boisterous they are. They're very like, they just say what they think. And you get to just watch them work all day long. So,
yeah, they are good people.
Oh, did you custom order something? That's awesome. They have a lot of really cool, their vibe over there is nice. They have been streaming now for years, I think like 2 or 3 years, 2 years. And I am one of the lucky ones that kind of got to find them early on. So
it's like 4 years, right?
It's been a while. Like, it's pretty great. I've been supporting them for quite some time.
Thank you, Cameron. No, wait, hang on. I have 2 from Cameron. Cameron said, oh, Ian from last week, RE privileges for officers. So this is when I said, like, the rights and privileges therein when you get promoted. Like, what are the privileges that you get? Because we talked about the replicator rations, having, like, access to better menus. Privileges for officers to be saluted, obeyed, respected, access to the officers' mess, better base housing, better barracks on the ship. So there are, in the military, lots of genuine privileges that come with rank. So yeah, I can see why that follows on through Star Trek.
I love that you guys thought this was an actual clipboard. It's so tiny as well. I have it here.
Beautiful.
Let me show you what it looks like the actual size of it, because I think the camera is sort of, this is how small it actually is.
The tiniest little clipboard.
Just a little clipboard for me. But yeah, it's pretty cute. Let me see if I can.
I love that.
Look at the detail on there.
It's brilliant. The fading of like the white.
Look at the tiny little, she put little dots. Can you guys see the black dots on the hookah?
Pipe? Yeah.
On the hookah pipe? Those are the stitches that they make on their hookah pipes.
That's amazing.
It's so detailed. And the work she does, the custom work she does, my goal is to get a pair of like white leather shoes and send them to her, which I can do. But the problem is that I don't know what I would want her to paint. So like, but for example, we could ask her to paint the center prize on something and she would paint the center prize.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I love that.
what is this? A clipboard for ants?
Nice.
A clipboard. Yep. Mm-hmm. A banana for scale. Okay. But I could do that.
You can absolutely get a banana.
Yeah.
Cameron, you give me way too much credit. Wait, Ian, can you do a Picard? My American ear can't tell how far apart your accent is from Sir Patrick. I cannot do a Picard. And someone else mentioned he is from Yorkshire, but he doesn't have a very distinctive Yorkshire accent. He sounds much more kind of generic English now. But no, I cannot do a Picard.
Apollo's hand.
Yes, with the lid on the Enterprise, on the ship, the green hand. It's amazing.
Anything else before we wrap up today? Obviously, we'll be back next week for another show. Please think of more things you can tell me that will ruin Star Trek for me.
Please do not.
Smith, I'm just kidding. You know we adore you. The Derpa Prize. I could paint the Derpa Prize.
It's impossible. It's impossible to draw. It defies physics. It shouldn't exist.
I love how hard Ian's accent comes out when he struggles to say red alarm.
Red alarm. Red alarm. Arm.
Let's talk about the rubber ducky room. Okay. Let's do it. So next week, hopefully you'll be able to be here, Smith, and you can tell me a bit more about this. The Derpa Prize defies physics and logic. It does.
Have you lost it?
No, it's just right over there.
Don't touch it.
We're doing not the next episode in line. We're not doing episode 6. We're doing episode 7 because we've already done episode 6.
I was meant to say when we covered it as well. We covered that episode on November 23rd, 2022. So we did that almost 2 years ago. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting for those who go back. Are we going to actually like re-release it in as like a re-release? Do you want to like revisit it or something?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I don't see why not. We can upload it on Saturday and I'll just put a little stinger on the front of it that explains, hey, if you want to listen to this.
Yeah. So it'll be a repeat for those who've already heard it. But then, I think we should too, Nick, because then if you're wanting to listen to it, it's all kind of together.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll make a note to do that for Saturday, I think. Yeah.
I'm okay with the bridges not being on deck 1 because it's not like the bridge isn't called deck 1. Like if the bridge was called that, then I'd be like, oh, like deck 1 is always the bridge, but it's just called the bridge. So I was okay with that. But anyway, life, sometimes you just find something out that gets you. This one got me. But you know what? I'm in the acceptance phase. So I'm going to be okay. But I will have to rework my tattoo idea.
You mean the one that you've already got on your body?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
I just realized tomorrow is Saturday. There's no way I'm going to be able to get that done in time for Saturday. So I think we'll upload that on Monday.
We can do it. We got this. We got this.
Why does it have to be Saturday though?
Because you said it.
Because I said it to the people in the chat. Monday. It'll be up on Monday.
Monday, guys. We're just shifting things around left and right.
You get an extra episode to listen to on Monday.
There is no bridge on the bridge. God damn it.
It's true.
Polly,
that hurts.
What are you doing to me? Oh my gosh, you guys are the best. We really, really love doing this show live with you all. Thank you for being here every week to be a part of the creation of this little podcast. Please continue to share it with your friends. Share it online on forums. If you're involved in any Star Trek communities, please don't hesitate to share a specific show or a part of the show that you like. You can cut to specific parts of the live show if you want to share a clip, either on Twitch by clipping it, or you can go over onto YouTube afterwards and share it directly from a specific timestamp. So please share us because we would like to continue to grow. That way we can do fun things in the future. So
Yeah, we
anyhow, we'll see you
can.
guys over on Discord, and we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Love you
Bye.
guys.